Hi, good evening. How are you? Or good morning. Who knows? I don't. I'm really dreading these next couple of days, honestly. Do you remember what I said yesterday when we looked at the scripture of Jesus bringing many sons unto glory? And I said to you, it's very difficult to preach on something that you're not in. And to be in the glory, friends, I'm not sure I have much of an idea of that. I can say what it means in my heart, in my mind, but to experience it is a whole different realm, friends. And that's what Jesus wants in our life, to experience, to live in. I don't live in the glory. Do you live in the glory? The glory as of the one and only begotten of the Father? You live in Him? Just at this present moment in my life, and I've walked with the Lord for 30 years, I'm not sure I have much to say. Again, I could wax eloquent and try to. I can't. See, I can't even. And well, tonight's message and possibly tomorrow isn't much different, because it's expressing the lowliness, the utter lowliness of Jesus, friends. And to properly minister and to preach it, even to understand it, is to be in it, to be in the spirit in which the book of Hebrews was written, and to be in the spirit of what it's describing causes you to understand. Well, unless we're living in and experiencing what these next verses are talking about, friends, do we really have much to say on the matter? We speak of things so often that we don't have a clue really about. Again, we can wax eloquent, we can sound lofty and sound spiritual and sound godly. I'm just telling you beforehand, I've been crying out to God inside, because to express the wonder of what's written here, friends, I don't think I'm very lowly. But I have a longing in my heart to express what is written here to you, to encourage you, to stir up a hunger within you to know and to love Jesus. I'm often reminded of, what's her name? I thought about her just a minute ago. Catherine Coleman, great healing evangelist. They said before she came out on the stage, she would cling to the curtain. Please, oh God, please, I don't have anything. Please, you gotta give me something. Do you understand? My friend, I'd given some sermons to a friend of mine, and he texted me today. He goes, I'm listening to one of them right now. Thank you so much. Not of me, of ones I had in my storehouse. And one of them is from Jackie Pullinger, who went to the wall. She gave up her whole life and went to the walled city of China. They don't even let police in there. That's how bad it is. And this huge, Google it. It's just amazing. And the first time I heard her speak, when she opened her mouth, friends, all I heard was poverty of spirit. This woman was so lowly. It oozed out of her. She didn't try to be. She didn't try to come up with some cute sermon to, rouse the people to action or, tears or some emotion. She just spoke. And out of her mouth oozed poverty of spirit. Can you fathom such a thing? And I so wish that what I share with you tonight and possibly tomorrow oozes lowliness. But I'm afraid, dear ones, I don't know if I've given up my life enough to that degree. But I've been chewing on it and chewing on it, begging God, please, Jesus, help break this down so it might be food for us. So it might be food for us. Do you want to eat of Jesus? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? This job that I'm currently at is in the middle of nowhere, and there's no restaurants to eat at. And there's hardly any food other than junk food. And so I don't eat a whole lot because I'd rather almost starve than just, my gut won't take it. And so I'm very hungry for real food. I'm craving real food. I eat at night just because I know I have to, but it's like just choking down. Ugh. There's nowhere to go. And so I'm hungry. Well, are you hungry for Jesus? Are you craving real food? Are you craving real food? Jesus is his name. This tonight, friends, it's real food without me. I just wish I could express it and give you, because the whole point is what? That you see Jesus, and to give you a sight of Jesus and what he's like. It's not as easy as you think. I have to have a sight of him. To some degree, with an understanding of his lowliness. How far down he stooped to meet your need and my need. Friends, I was so close to hell. I was so in the gutter. And it was like Jesus laid in the sewer himself and bench pressed me so I wouldn't be touching the sewer. And he let that nasty, filthy water run all over him to protect me. I was sharing a story last night with someone. I think and it was a time when I was doing a job and I was remodeling the upstairs, the first floor of a house, and the bathroom was upstairs because I took out the bathroom downstairs, made it into two with a big master in it, and anyways, the studs were open, and every time someone would flush the toilet upstairs, I said, boy, that sounds awfully loud. It must just because the drywall, and the pipe runs down through the wall. And then I dropped my drywall saw down there, and I had to go get it. And when I opened the basement door, the entire basement, the entire basement was full of human feces. Somebody had bumped the pipe, and I found out who, but somebody had bumped the pipe, and so for a week to 10 days, it was just an open into the basement. Who had to clean that up? Yes, yours truly. But I know it's gross, but I'm giving you a picture of where Jesus found you and I. It's not so pretty, is it? It's not so pretty. And I can hardly say it. I have to say it. Jesus laid in that and held you up in his hands. So you won't get he just lifted you out. It does say he lifted you out of the miry clay. Well, that's what we're looking at here tonight, friends. How far down Jesus came willingly came down to where you and I are, to meet our needs. I don't know how far down I've come. I know he's brought me down. But I'm just going to read this again. I touched on one aspect of it last night, but I have to cover the other aspect. Last night we talked about the oneness between Jesus and his bride. But there's another aspect of what it's describing here, in the sense of he became one of us. He became one of us. He took a place among us before his Father. In essence, saying, Father, I'm just like them. Do with me as you would do to them. We deserved that wrath, friends. You and I deserved that wrath. But it was poured out on his own Son. Would you do that? Listen, we think we're so godly, like God. Oh, how godly are you? Would you do that to your Son for your enemies? I don't want to hear another person say how godly they are. Oh, come on, just break that down for a minute. How godly are you? Well, you're like God? You're godly? You're holy? You would do that to your Son? You would give your Son your wrath so your enemies didn't have to take it? I don't think we're very godly. I don't think we're very like Christ either. We're going to get into it. I can't get over that. Would you do that to your Son? It's just blowing my mind right now, because so often we walk around in this pompous pride, spiritual pride, in how godly we are. Don't we? Abraham did it. Abraham was godly. Are we? We have trouble giving up the pettiest little things. Could you give up your son to death? For your enemies. For those who hate, why we were enemies, Christ died for us, friends. That's pretty sobering. Isn't it? That's pretty sobering. For both he that sanctifieth, we're in verse 11 of chapter 2. For both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified are all of one. And last night, like I said, we touched on the side of becoming one with Christ and him becoming one with us. But tonight I want to look at, friends, the scripture's inexhaustible, right? Okay, there's people that know God way more than me, would do a way better job. It's inexhaustible. There's so many different sides in which the Holy Ghost can reveal this. But tonight we're going to look at the other side. We're all one. The Father looked down at Jesus on the earth. They're all the same. He took his place among us as one of us. A sinner. He who knew no sin became sin for us. Again, I'm going to try to express the lowliness of Jesus tonight. And see, when you see him, when you really see Jesus, friends, that's what you see. His lowliness. That he would stoop down to our weakness, mighty as he is. He became one of us. Just a common man. You don't believe me? What was Jesus doing with the multitudes on their way to be baptized? You only need to be baptized if you're a sinner. And yes, he said, do this that it might be fulfilled. But he didn't argue with it. He didn't say, hey, just so everybody knows, I've never sinned. I didn't do anything deserving of this. I'm just here to help you filthy peasants. That's what you and I would have said. He didn't say that. He just took his place among the sinners going down to the river to be baptized, and never tried to justify himself, never tried to prove his own rightness, never made excuses. Nobody knew who they were. No, they were all sinners. Nobody knew who he was except John the Baptist, who said, behold, the Lamb of God. But he's standing there, taking his place as a sinner for you and for me. See, can you understand? You'll never understand that, friends, unless you're willing to partake of his lowliness. He wants that same quality in you. He wants that same quality in you. Lowliness. Never trying to defend yourself. Never trying to justify yourself. Never trying to prove your rightness. Never, ever, ever declaring that you're better than anybody. Or that anybody's worse than you. This is almost incomprehensible. How far down are we willing to go to meet the needs? Are you willing to lay in that basement of raw sewage to pull people out of it like Jesus did? Well, we're not very godly, are we? We're not like God very well. Saying, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren. He's not ashamed to associate with people so awful and despicable as you and me. That's the lowliness of Jesus. He's not ashamed. He's not embarrassed. He doesn't have to draw attention to himself. He just takes the place as one of us. Desperately despicable, unworthy, wretched, filthy, vile, and never once justifying himself. When he says, I'm not ashamed to call you brother, meaning I'm just like you. I had lunch with my pastor yesterday, and I stare at him just like I'm staring at you. As he tells me, Brett, you have no idea how deserving of hell I am. And I've known this man for 30 years, and I've never once seen or heard anything other than pure love and mercy flow from his life. And see, that was one of the things that broke me about my pastor, because when I was at PLM, which is, it's a ministry for those, in essence, who were perverts, who were sexually perverted. And this man, who had a Harvard degree, graduated from Harvard and gave it all up to never take a salary any day of his life, to come to this vile of a place with all of these men who are the lowest scum of society and give us Jesus. And one day I was driving, and it was revealed to me that lowliness, that a man of that degree, and say, I love being here with you and worshiping Jesus together, which we're going to get into. That broke me. That you would give up millions and millions and millions of dollars and notoriety from being a Harvard graduate, but even being a minister and coming to such a vile place. Now it's pretty wide known, but I'm talking about 1997, when it was just, sexual sin wasn't really well known in the church, and how, rampant it was. So we all looked like perverts to the church, to the world around us, to the community. They thought we were sacrificing chickens over there. I worked in the community. I heard the stories. And the fact that this man would come to give me Jesus. Would you do that? Would you sacrifice? So, in essence, when the community saw him, they considered him just like us, even though he wasn't. But that man willingly took that upon himself to set us free. There's some similarities to what I'm trying to say. Would you do that for somebody else? The community did say that about Jesus. If this man knew what kind of woman she was. and other such things that the Pharisees shouted at him. He hangs out with sinners. Yeah. He saw himself as one of them. He didn't see himself as any better or them as any worse. Can you comprehend such lowliness? See why it's hard to minister? Especially when you're not very lowly? To stoop down to rescue. I'm not ashamed to call you brother. To be just like you. To associate with you. To fellowship with you. You know, we often say that, don't we, when we try to help our kids? You know, you are who you associate with. Tell me your 5 closest friends and I'll tell you what kind of man you're going to be. Oh, really? I mean, the church says these things. Really? How about we pick Jesus' closest friends? All the off-scouring of the world. You telling me that's the kind of man Jesus is going to be then? The off-scouring of the world? See, even in the church, friends, we have very little idea of who and what Jesus really is. Don't we? Are you willing to associate? I mean, it should be no trouble for you because you actually are just like everyone else. But see, God's lowliness, though, attacks our mind and what we think about ourselves, that we really see ourselves as a cut above the rest. I'm not like that. I don't do those things. I don't never. Really? Oh, you would never, huh? Really? You were kept from those things, friends, because of God's mercy, not because of some moral something or another that you have within yourself. My pastor's never done anything like, not even, zero. He was a virgin when he got married to the same woman for 60 years. He's not, but he took his place as one of us. He can preach on loneliness because he's in it. I wish he could be here sharing with you on lowliness. It's just who Jesus is. He doesn't think of himself as somebody. I really tricked myself because I thought I had so nothing to say that I was like, man, we're going to get a lot of reading done tonight because I got nothing to say. But inside, I'm crying out to Jesus the whole time. God, bless these people. I just want you to be blessed. I don't want you to listen to me ramble or just spout out opinions. I want to speak God into your life. Something of Jesus that you can sink your teeth into until it gets a hold of your life and becomes what you are. You become what it is. Saying, I will declare your name unto my brethren. I'm going to take my place out here, down here, and I'm going to declare your name. My whole life. This is Jesus. My whole life is going to be about you, Father. I don't want a single thing for me. Is that your relationship with God? I don't want a single thing for me. I'm going to take my place, just like everybody else, and give you glory and honor. Spend my days worshiping you. He goes on to say, this is Jesus, and in the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee. I'm going to be just like everybody else, no different. They're not bowing down to me. I am with them bowing down to you. He is the head. He is part of this body. See, he took his rightful place in the body. Friends, you got to understand who he is. He's equal with the Father. He's God. He was there in the beginning of creation. And he said, I'm willing to give all that up so I can be here just like everybody else, worshiping you, Father. I don't consider myself as something. We've gone over that in Philippians, friends. He didn't consider that position something to be held on to with a death grip. You and I hold on to our opinions of ourselves, our own greatness like a death grip. And if somebody dare says we're not that great, or we'll show them. I will sing praise to you, Father. I'm part of the body. He's part of the body. He's part of you and me. See the oneness? We could go back to the oneness of a body. This is one body. Just one. This head, you talk about the lowliness. Friends, God can live apart from us. See, he's God and he's man. He can live apart from us, and yet he's took the place as our head. And if you cut this head off, none of it lives. None of it lives. None of it lives. Not the head, not the body, and not you if you cut yourself off from the head. Do you understand that kind of lowliness? I mean, again, I'm not here to criticize or to make fun of, friends, but most pastors are not in that kind of lowliness. I've heard several pastors say from the pulpit, if you're not going on with God, I'm going on with God without you. Well, that's the most arrogant thing you can ever say as a pastor, as a minister. That man oozed with arrogance. He didn't ooze with poverty of spirit or lowliness. He thought he was all hungry for God and setting an example, but all he was declaring was his own spiritual ego. We don't realize how much of that comes out of us. Not much like this. This is our example. I'm just like you. I'm just like the publican who beat his breast, couldn't even look up to heaven and said, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. In essence, friends, that's what Jesus was saying. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? And see, friends, if you scoff at that, whatever, you're in a very, very bad place. I mean, even as a Christian, can you see the lowly? If you can't, friends, that means you're not in what he's in. And what's the opposite of what he's in? What I just said, pride. So be careful and be honest. And again, this is Jesus. I will put my trust in the Father. What's he talking about? He's referring to, let's see, where are we at? That's verse 13. He's referring to 1, 2, 3 verses earlier. I will put my trust in him. Meaning, the 3 verses earlier is, I'm going to make, the Father saying, I'm going to make him suffer. See, again, how godly are you? Would you say that to your son? For the sake of your enemies. We're not very godly at all. Neither am I. I'm not yelling at you. I got sons. But what was Jesus' response to the Father saying, I'm going to perfect him? If you and I were Jesus and somebody said that to us, you and I would say, hold on a sec, don't you know who I am? I'm already perfect. I'm God. How dare you say that to me? Don't you know who I am? That same spirit was in the Pharisees. Remember when the blind man was healed? And he said, do you want to be the disciples of Jesus? And they said, do you teach us? We're the teachers around here. So some of us are like that. Be honest. Be honest. Be honest. Well, can you put your trust? Jesus did, and said to the Father, whatever you make me suffer to perfect me. Again, even me saying those words, if I was perfect as Jesus was, it'd be very hard for me to say, even though I'm already perfect. Some of us think that. We don't want to go into any, especially some of us who've walked with the Lord for a long time, maybe not so much a long time, but we think we've arrived. I don't need any more suffering. Why? Because when something happens, I don't know why this is happening to me. Well, I do. Because you're not very godly. You need... I never say that. I just was never one of those people that, trust me, I rail on God in other ways, but so I'm just saying in this one area, I never said why it is, why that. I know why. Because I need the suffering. Because I'm far from perfect. And we say that, and Jesus agrees with you. And he says, okay, but I want to make you perfect. So I'm going to give you suffering. So can you say, as Jesus said, I will put my trust in him. I trust him. That whatever suffering he allows, and all of the suffering he allows, is to perfect me into the image of his Son. Ooh-wee. And if Jesus needed to suffer, friends, you and I greatly need to suffer. I know these haven't been popular messages, I see. I can see the amount of views compared to, they're not very popular. Nobody, but friends, they're popular to those who want Jesus. I want to know Jesus. I want to fellowship with him. I just want to fellowship with him. Commune with him. He's able to put his trust in his Father no matter what the Father brought him through. Can you do that? We're going to get there because it comes up later in the book of Hebrews, friends, but it's especially in regards to the garden. And most people, almost most Christians, have no idea what's happening in the garden. And I'm not saying I have some secret that nobody else does, friends, but Jesus was not begging to get out of the cross. Do you understand that? And that's what everybody teaches, but it's not what it's saying there. He was, because we're going to get into it in the book of, it's going to come up in the book of Hebrews. God answered him and strengthened him. He sent angels to him in the garden to strengthen him. What was really happening in the garden? The devil was trying to kill him. So he never got to the cross to die for you and me. He got up 3 times to leave, and the Father said, no, go back. He was sweating drops of blood. You read any doctor's report on what's happening to your body when you sweat drops of blood. Your body's shutting down. You're about to die. And the devil was trying to kill him in the garden before he made it to Calvary. He was not pleading with, oh, not my will. I don't want to go. I'll just do your will. That's not at all what was happening in the garden. See, I got ahead of myself. I don't remember what chapter it is in the book of Hebrews, but it's going to come up again. But see, he trusted his Father. God's heart, Jesus' heart, was to go to the cross. Why? That's how much he loved you. A real man would literally die for his wife. If God said to the man, I'm going to kill either you or your wife, a real man would say, well, then it's me. That's what a real man would say. You kill me. That's what Jesus was saying. And the Father wanted to see how submissive Jesus was, even if the Father said no and allowed the devil to kill him in the garden, and he would never get his beautiful bride. That would have to be the worst. To almost being married and have it stripped away from you has to be the worst. And that's what Jesus was facing. To give up his bride, if it be his Father's will. He was that submissive that he would submit to the devil killing him in the garden, if that's what the Father wanted. Are you that sold out to Jesus? Are you that lowly that you'll take any amount of suffering in your life if it be the will of God? In fact, you see all the suffering in your life as the will of God, and you receive it joyfully and gladly. That's why Jesus went back. He says he didn't do anything except that which he saw his Father doing, and he got up to leave. See, he was tempted just like you and me. And the Father said, no, go back. But back meant the devil could kill him. Pretty sobering, isn't it? Now you understand a little bit when instead of just reading over verse 13, I put my trust in him. Man, Jesus trusted the Father. Ooh. It's identical. Well, not almost. It's pretty. I don't want to say identical. It is identical, and yet I don't know if it's perfectly identical to Abraham. All the promises came through Isaac, and yet God said, "Kill him. But that's all the promises. See, it was the same thing with Jesus in the garden. All the promises were I have to die. So my people can be filled with me. And if I don't die, they can't be filled with me. But nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. See, we got the American church has it completely opposite to what it really was. We got a lot of things the opposite of what it really is. Can you trust? Can you trust like that? Can you trust that even if you lost everything in your own life also, can you trust that God knows best? Can you trust if everything is ripped away from you? I've had to walk through all of those things, friends. Can I really trust that God is good and merciful? Do I really believe that all God's ways are mercy and truth? Can you believe that when you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death? Do you know how hard it was for me to train for the ministry for 10 years? And the door finally opened. And I thought it was an answer to prayer. I thought it was an answer to the training. And 6 weeks later, it all ended. 6 weeks. Really 5. The 6th week was just for them to fire me. And that was in 2008. And God kept my mouth shut for 14 years and wouldn't let me speak. $14 years. No. When did I start? 2000. What are we at? Where are we at? 20? What? 26? 22. When did I start? 2022? What is 8 to 22? 16 years. Oh. Or is it 14 years? I can't. 8 to 18. Yeah, 14. I was right. So confused. Yeah, 14 years. He shut me up. Could I trust him? And then, I told my pastor, I thought my pastor was going to fall out of his seat. He just looked at me with utter shock and horror when I told him that in 2017, the Lord directly said to me, Brett, I'm going to allow the devil to sift you. That's all Jesus said. And my pastor was like, I've never seen. And I went through 6 years of absolute hell. Absolute hell. It was a sifting, all right. I guess I have a little bit of an understanding of what I'm sharing with you. A little bit. Well, my time is up. I'm glad Jesus helped us. Friends, he loves us. He loves us. He took his place among us in order that he could give us himself fully and completely, and so that you could have him fully and completely inside of you. Inside of you. Do we appreciate that? Do we appreciate what he did that we could have him in his fullness? Amen. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. And I'll see you, Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye.